Today I have an amazing guest, another one of the list of guests that I have for you guys. This man is very special to me as a friend and as a confidant and most importantly as a brother. But also one of the most important reasons that I wanted to have him here, is his multiple achievements and his ability to jump between roles, some of them professional, some of them personal, and still achieve at the highest levels in everything he does. He is the owner and co-founder of Chica, which is, I'll let him speak about it a little bit more because it's a very interesting concept. He also wears multiple hats. He used to be a film producer, a director, and he'll talk a little bit about that himself too. But most importantly, what we're going to talk about today is his clear intention every day on being the best version of himself, which is something I'm really interested in talking about, and the different facets that come with that, the different, which I call the 7 pillars of life mastery, which we're going to touch upon, and how that comes into his daily life. I would like to welcome Nemanja. I call him Nem. Let's kick off this conversation, Nem, by me actually saying how we met, which is basically, we have a common friend, Fadi. And when I was starting my coaching business, I went and asked Fadi about somebody that can build a website. And we were in Al Circal Avenue, and he basically said, oh yeah, next door, 2 doors to the right, there's this guy called Nemanja, go ask him and tell him Fadi sent you and he'll help you. And I was like, okay. So I walk into this store called Chica. I walk in and I'm like, what is this place in the middle of Al Quoz, in the industrial area? Granted, it's a beautiful area, Circal Avenue. Shout out to our Circal Avenue. And then I met your wife first, and we had a pretty interesting conversation with her for about 15-20 minutes, and then you walked in with your hat and your glasses, and I'm like, okay, we started speaking, and about 5-6 hours later, I walked out of that shop spinning. the least way I can describe it. So just quickly, talk to us about your path, where you come from, how you ended up in Dubai. Summarize it so we can start digging into a little bit more.
Sure. So, brief, born in Belgrade, Serbia. Went to Los Angeles, Beverly Hills, did my final high school year in LA. Then went to study business administration in Prague. Worked for a couple of years in real estate development, engineering, architectural design, and engineering consulting. And then decided, actually felt that my path was somewhere else. And then I enrolled and studied film direction in Belgrade. And then had a couple of stopovers. I lived in New York for a couple of years, worked in fashion, filming some interesting things for Italian Vogue, among others. Did some photography for Vogue as well. Then met Nina, and she's the reason I came here. In between, I made a short stopover in Berlin, Nina was living here for 27 years, and I was like, okay, let me check out Dubai. I came here during Ramadan, and we're talking during Ramadan as well, but it was during summer 8 years ago. And she was kind of hesitant. I was like, maybe you should come at a different time. I was like, no, just give me the whole thing, And actually, I fell in love. I fell in love with the place. I fell in love with this woman that is my wife. We have a 3-year-old boy, Noah. And from the moment we started to build our story here, we started with this interesting story of Chica. So 8 years down the line.
Just a minute, I'm going to interject
Yeah.
there. So I walk into Chica, right? And the first thing I see is like, this is a Japanese kind of influenced place. I'm sorry I cut you, but I have to say this is a... And when I started asking Nina what you guys do, she said we make Japanese-inspired abayas, which is, for the listeners that don't know what abaya is, it's the traditional robe that Emirati women wear on a daily basis. So, I mean, I was born and raised here, and I'm from the culture, and I've always seen my family wear abayas. I'm like, Japanese-inspired abaya? Who would think of that? And then I met you guys, and I was like, oh, of course you would think of something like that. So, what's the inspiration behind that?
So yeah, it's totally crazy. I always wanted to have an abaya brand when I was a little boy.
You almost had me there. I'm like, what?
Actually, when I have the girls come in and they meet the owner with a hat, and they were like, "So who are you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm the owner." I was like, "So how do you? What do you mean you make abayas?" I was like, "You know what? I like cross-dressing, and abaya is my favorite piece." And they were like, So it's a crazy story. I mean, but like many other stories along the way. So if I try to reason, I mean, I can give you a couple of points how we ended up where we did, and one of the main things was actually Japan. Our first big trip to Japan left an impression that still to this day is something that is very, very important part of what we do, our daily life. So Japan, for all the people that went, that's the first question. Have you ever been to Japan? And for people that have been, they were like, okay, so you know.
Yeah,
Okay.
there is this thing between people that went to Japan. Yes.
Because it's a miraculous and fascinating place. And among many different aspects and features of Japan, one thing that we kind of found resonance with was this devotion to beauty. So probably there's not a single place on this planet that is so devoted to beauty and kind of putting an effort to constantly celebrate it and constantly find it in a way. So for us, there are beauty lovers in a way. And Japan kind of was a trigger, and we decided to, whatever we do, stay in touch with Japan in some way. It was a wish, we went up and like, we just want to stay in touch with this place. And the story with an abaya started with a couple of kimonos that Nina brought from Japan, and her local friends, they were like, oh my God, this is the most beautiful abaya I've ever seen. They were like, no, this is a kimono. They were like, no, give me this abaya. I was like, no, it's a kimono abaya, not the kimono abaya. Okay, kimono abaya. So we coined the term kimono abaya, where we kind of took a Japanese kimono, which is beautiful artistry, craft that was developed over 1,000 years, hand painted on silk, unique pieces, and so on, to accommodate it to become a fashionable item in the region. So we became well known. We're the first ones to bring Japanese kimonos, and we supply very exquisite clientele in the region with Japanese kimonos. And then our clients were asking for more. And this is where Nina's fashion taste and great sense for fabric and color and everything along brought us where we are. So we have a full
But
fashion line.
also her understanding of the culture and her being a third culture
Absolutely.
kid.
Yeah.
It's
So
a very
she grew
interesting
up-
aspect
yeah.
of Dubai.
Yeah.
Because if you see Nina,
Yeah.
like the first time you told me she grew up here and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I didn't really make the connection. But then
Yeah.
when you told me about her and her history and how she was
Yeah.
here for such a long time,
Yeah.
it all made sense.
Yeah. So of course, 27 years here, many local Emirati friends and many experiences with this. So she knows her friends. She knows, and I always joke with her. She's more local than the locals, because she grew up in this place. So this culture shaped her in the most beautiful way.
Yeah.
So
but that's the beauty of Dubai, no?
absolutely.
The ability to accept these things.
Absolutely.
Like who would have, me growing up here, who would have imagined that we'd have Japanese influenced abayas, in this time and day, or people that contribute so much to the society here that are from all across the world. It's like the golden times right now in this region or in the world even, like what's happening.
Absolutely. And this is what we kind of, one of very important aspects of Chica, where beside the fashion aspect of it, we come from, you already mentioned, a background is in film. Nina came from culture and management in culture. So our approach to this was always broader, always more than just the fashion item. So we run a program of very interesting exhibitions, activations. We had for 2 years, we had a project called Open Tent, where we served the Japanese-inspired iftar, where we created, took over one of the warehouses in Al Serkal and made a menu that was never done before. Wasabi hummus is something that people are still talking about.
Okay.
So, but what's beautiful about this is that everybody's looking for where's the local girl or where's the Japanese woman behind this, and then they meet us. We're like shy about this, they're like, no, this is us, But the beautiful aspect of it is we celebrate both the Japanese and Middle Eastern cultures. So Middle East and Far East, we brought them in a love affair. So I'm not selling you my culture. I'm just showing you how many beautiful invisible bridges exist between culture that seem very distant. Because in the beginning, as people walk in with like kimono, abaya, like, what are you talking about, But then we start to dig through and say, guys, we've been connected as a civilization much more than it meets the eye. And we are very investigative in this. So we did, let's say, an exhibition on history of colors in Japan. Every color has a name, history, chemistry, and always I like to tell this story. In the 4th century, there was an expedition from Japan that ended up in Ethiopia. Found this beautiful yellow flower, brought it back to Japan. They made a dye out of it, and it became the most fashionable color for 300 years.
Wow.
Nobody in Ethiopia knows about this.
Really?
Nobody knows about this, Okay. So then you start seeing our world in a very different way, And then at the time when the world is in a very difficult place where the walls are being built, based on differences, we are the bridge builders, So we created a portal that takes you directly to Japan or anywhere else in a way, because we made a proof of concept. If we proved that impossible is possible, let's say the Middle East and the Far East, they have so much more in common than this shallow swipe approach to culture, which endangers our ability to see more to it. So we proved that actually, if you take any 2 points of our culture today, if you dig deep enough, you'll see that there's so much more that connects us than divides us.
There's more connection than separation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So being in Dubai gives you a beautiful surrounding, not to be judged in a way, like, oh, cultural appropriation. I'm like, I'm not doing anything, I'm not pretending to do, let me show you Japan. This is our way of instead of telling you what is important to me, which is beauty, honesty, hard work, don't cut corners, you know, do the things right, it's easier to say Japan. You know, it's like then give you the whole. So today we live in a world where actually we can see for the first time the full picture of our civilization. And we can take the most beautiful, important practices from different corners of our planet and incorporate them in a way. Because kimono is a dying culture in Dubai, in Japan. When we brought it here, we made an avant-garde thing out of it.
How does that? We'll move on to a little bit. I want to drill a little bit on you.
Sure.
But, how is that accepted by the Japanese that you've come across?
So, in the beginning, we found, I say, a bit of resistance, judgment, and of course, they're very protective about their culture because it's so beautiful. It's so sophisticated
and delicate.
Yeah. So you don't, and many people stop at the front. Oh, it's so cute, and then they stop. So to go deeper behind the doors, to understand, for us, it took a little bit of time. So they recognize in us that we have a genuine love for it, and appreciation and willingness to learn, and a humility about this. And slowly, they started to open the doors, and then they've opened the doors to the temple in a way, and we got to meet the craftsmen, the distributors, which are generations and generations in line, and then we became an inspirational story for them. It's like, look at these people, you know, there's a couple from Dubai and they're from Serbia and they want to take our kimonos and they're making them in this beautiful, fashionable way. So then we had people in Kyoto, the cultural heart of Japan. They call us in and they say, please tell us, what should we do? And we were like, oh my God.
About their industry.
Yes.
Wow.
And that moment I looked at Nina, I was like, wow, this just happened. I mean, I'm not saying this to in any way to signify our importance, but just to point out the need for us to kind of open doors, because somebody from outside can see something in a different way. But as I always said to all of my Japanese friends, even to the Japanese officials, the consul general, and saying, I say, Japan belongs to me. And he goes like, what do you mean? It's like, it's mine, just like anybody else's. It belongs to us as a humanity. Yeah. So there's this thing, if a craft that's been developed for 1,000 years dies out, it's the same thing as we will lose a beautiful species on this planet. We'll lose the polar bears, or we'll lose the eagles. Nobody ever will be able to enjoy the beautiful craft that they've nurtured for so many centuries. So our quest then became more of a mission, in a way, and then
higher purpose.
Yeah, exactly, higher purpose and then we started to inspire Dubai as well. Be like, okay, look outside of the box. You know, we don't need to pimp up our game just going to Morocco. We can do different things, and then we discovered the whole following of Japanese culture here, and became inspiration for many Emirati girls that have Japanese clubs and universities. So we became a point of meet and exchange, cultural exchange, where we kind of learned so much about each other. And this is what drives us.
I want to dig in a little bit on that, because you wear so many hats and because me and you can talk forever.
Yes.
I'd like to pick on a few things. One of the things I'd like to talk about is this entrepreneurial ship that you're on, if we can call it that. We both have entrepreneurial bugs, you know, and we both own businesses with our wives. So, and we both have toddlers, and we have so many things in common, and I think that's why the conversation can never stop.
Yeah.
But importantly, I want to highlight this trip that we're on as entrepreneurs, and how you can build things strategically from the beginning for it to kind of evolve into this thing that is as influential and as big as yours is, with all modesty and love.
So what comes to mind immediately as you ask the question is actually the training I went through to be a film director. It was instrumental in shaping many things that I right now I understand much better. So the journey that we went through was how to discover yourself, your point of view, like who are you? What is your relationship to every single small piece of reality? And to always, whatever you do, try to be true or be true to your essence and create the world in line with who you are. Because in art, you cannot fake it. You cannot apply, how to do this in this way. It has to be very personal. So even being an entrepreneur, I apply the same thing. I just okay, we're going to do things which are completely aligned with who we are.
With your values and
exactly with what I believe in. You know, what I believe is important in a way. What is in harmony, absolute harmony with who I am, and not only with who I am, but also with my wife. So our joint vehicle. So we always check with each other in a way. Does this align with who we are? That is this. I constantly ask myself, am I living according to my beliefs? Is this what I believe in? If something doesn't check this box, I look how to shift in a way. So our entrepreneurial approach was much like that, a creative approach. So we have a business that is act of creation, and it's still in process. It's still constantly work in process, because this work also builds you, and then as it builds you, you build it back, and then it builds you and you build it back. It's a very personal thing, and there's so much of confusion that I see where people think that you build something outside of yourself. Whatever you do in life, it's you. It's an extension of you. It's our contribution to the collective creative process of being a human being on the planet Earth, which is a creative intelligence of itself. So aligning yourself with those kind of main principles, then the story from the strategy in my business school was, look, what are the long-term trends in a way, and see how you stay on them. And a long-term trend is life. What supports life? You know, what are the things that we really need? I mean, there are many different business opportunities which are not based on that. There's okay, this is a moment where we can buy cheap and sell. I'm not interested in that. I mean, definitely this generates a lot of revenue, but I'm interested in a life beyond revenue. Revenue is a result of your efforts that come along. But if you're true to yourself and work hard, I mean, don't forget that. It's oh, I have a dream. So no, build something that can be sustainable. Then you will learn from it, and then you build it, and it goes along.
I think these two things are very cohesive in a way, because one depends on the other. If you're not doing things that are according to your values, if you're not doing things that you really love, if you're not doing things that you're really passionate about, if you're not doing things that you really believe in, then how are you going to be able to work hard consistently as an entrepreneur needs to? We don't work a 9 to 5. We work a 6 to 6, you know. So it's I mean 6 a.m. to 6 a.m. So it's everything, even your sleep, even your nutrition, which is something that we'll segue into, even your parenting, even your relationship, and especially when you are in a relationship. You touched on the fact that you and Nina built this together, and you got to check on this and stuff like that. Me and Reem, my wife, own our own interior design label, which is the same thing. And the question we always get is, don't you guys get bored of each other? Aren't you guys tired? Don't you guys get into fights? Don't you guys get into arguments? And we always look at each other and we're like, no, actually this has added so much to our relationship and to our friendship and to our respect of one another. And I would like for you to kind of segue into your life as a husband, as an entrepreneur husband. Husbandpreneur. I'll find a coin for that. I'll coin a term for that. And how you as a man represent manhood in that perspective, because you're a husband, you own a business with your wife, you are a father, and me and you are very similar. A lot of the times we're at home with our kids, we're stay-at-home dads, so we share co-parenting, they call it. I don't know what that even means. That's what it's supposed to be. And at the same time, you own and operate multiple businesses. You have your hats in many places. So I just want to kind of talk about that in particular, if we can. And we start with your relationship with your wife.
Yeah. So if not the single most important decision that you make in life is who you ride with, who you fly with. So after you do your casting well, the film takes its turn. So very fortunate, very fortunate that we found each other in such beautiful complementarity. It's still something I'm deeply grateful for, because we complement each other with our skill sets as we're talking entrepreneurship in a most amazing way. And we just kind of, it's unbelievable how there's one thing that needs to be done and there's always one that has more affinity towards it, and then he takes it over. Yeah. We don't separate by man jobs and women jobs in a way, but it's a miracle in play. So there's always, when she's stressed on one side, I take over, you know, and I'm like, I'll cover for you, I'll do this. What can I do to create a space as a man? Very importantly, it's time for a new man. And it's time for the new idea of complementarity and harmony between a man and a woman. And I find this as the fundamental aspect of all the things that we did and achieved and are working towards. So, as I said, it's the time for a new man, for a new family, and there's so many of beautiful stories of couples which found this complementarity and that enjoy their time together. When people ask us, so how much time you guys spend together, and we go like, on average, 23.5 hours per day, you know, give and take.
And then that 0.5 can be filled in with WhatsApp and
yeah,
phone.
yeah, it's no, but it's I say we have our space. We have what each one can do on its own in a way. But we enjoy each other's company, and we.
But I mean, even that, even giving each other space,
Yeah.
is an investment in the relationship.
Absolutely.
So I would count it as time towards the relationship,
Absolutely.
towards the business, towards being
Absolutely.
together. I think that's what people misconceive, is that
Yeah.
if you give your other half, or your better half, or your beautiful other half, whatever you want to call it, whatever people call it these days, if you give them some time to go and reflect internally, or go have fun with their friends, or do something, that they're taking away from the relationship, or taking time away from the relationship. To me, it's all investing into the relationship. And I think this concept is sometimes very misunderstood by men. And you touched upon something that's very important, this partnership between a man and a woman. We complement each other in so many things, and sometimes it feels almost automatic, you know? It's crazy. The things that she doesn't want to do, I automatically not have to do, I want to do. And the things that I don't want to do, automatically she wants to do. And there's this beautiful kind of synergy that goes together. Okay, next we're gonna move to the topic of fatherhood, and the example of a man in a fatherhood. And I see how you are with Noah, and it's we also have very similar philosophies with parenting. So can you please talk about your role as a father that is not non-traditional in many ways, because so many times we're Zoom calling and you are, you know, Noah's in the bathtub and Ayla is sitting on my lap, and we're talking about very mature, manly things as much as we can. And I just want people to understand what that looks like, what it feels like also, most importantly.
So I feel for too long we've been compartmentalizing, things. So you would put things in a box. So okay, with my wife I do this, with my boys I do this, with my son I do this, with my job I do this. There's like too many compartments, and life operates in a completely different way. Life is I say it's a living form. It doesn't work in boxes in a way. So this is my understanding of it, just to understand. So I try not to stop life or to put barriers in between the roles and functions and things like that. I try to bring myself into everything I do. So I bring myself to my son every morning. And I don't think, what the father should do or what the mother should do, like all this nonsense is. And as we're running a business that constantly needs somebody's attention, decision making, different timings with COVID, when the kids were not going in school, that's where like, okay, and we couldn't have help in the house for some time, and so I would stay at home, you know, and I would take Noah. So. In a way, I needed to be, and I am, me with him, with a young a human being that chose me as his father. So I always try to understand or to be present in the moment for him. Because as you know, especially with younger kids, the presence is the key element, and there's no, okay, I'll be half with you and half of my phone and half somewhere else. No, I'll be 100% with you, and then everything changes. Their eyes open in a different way.
Really quickly,
Yeah,
just because I want to drill into something.
Yeah.
You said your child chose you.
Oh yeah.
Yes, and you also said that you need, in summary, you said that the best way to parent is to be a conscious parent.
Oh yeah.
Right? To be conscious.
Absolutely.
Those two things, to me, when I speak to them about them with my clients, are one and two. They're complementing concepts in parenting. Can you expand a little bit about what you meant when you said your child chooses you, and how that impacts you parenting consciously? Because they're a circle.
So the regular passed on information for generations was that we create kids. You know, it was I made you. You know, that the old spell from the fatherhood.
Yeah.
I made
Yeah,
you.
yeah. If
Really?
I made you, I can get, I can get rid of
I
you.
own you.
Yeah.
You know, there's a sense of ownership in a way, which is we brought a lot of joy to many psychiatrists. I say along the way. To decode this completely anti-life concept in a way. So back to the concept of the kid chooses you. Common sense, without going deeply into the whole cosmology and the understanding of how things happen. But when you think about it, at a certain point in your life, the miracle, intention, a womb, pregnancy, baby, development starts, it happens after you came to a certain point in life, right? So baby comes after you. So in a way, it's an intention of creation, of the planet, of the intelligence, that a child is being brought into your realm. So in that sense, a child has a choice before coming into life. And it chose me as a parent. And that changes the whole dynamic or psychology. I spoke to many parents along the years, and when I tell them this, things shift immediately. Yes. I tell them in front of their kids, and you see that the kid shifts, the parent shifts. And I always tell to the kid, you have nothing to complain about because that was your choice. And when the things are not set up in the right way, we're like, oh, I made you. And I was like, why did you make me? You know, why did you bring me into this life? Why are you like this? Why are you like that? There's so much blame going on in the adolescence or at any time when there is manipulation, bargaining between the kids and the parents. So this removes it all. It was your choice to choose me, and I'll do the best myself that I can do. As a parent, there's nothing else we need to do, to my understanding, but to be who we are. And being who I am is exactly what this little boy needs in his life. So instead of me trying to think what I need to be in order to satisfy his, I don't know what, projection or something like, I just need to be me. He needs me.
So easy.
It's so easy. He needs me. He needs my presence. He needs my time. He needs my love. And being a kind of an entrepreneur and kind of managing my own time gives me a lot of benefits that I'm so grateful for. That I can, leave work and spend the time when I feel he needs me, or we can go somewhere at a different time. So being present is important. Yeah.
What would we say to fathers that are not entrepreneurs, to fathers that actually work the 9 to 5, to like probably your father and my father, people that claim they don't have time?
Yeah.
What do we say to them?
It's more quality than quantity, in that sense. I don't have time. Many times, there's still cases where people really work and they come back from work and their kids are going to sleep, in a way. But I think with Corona and with all this, many people ask themselves a question, like, what is really important? Like, why is my child growing up without me? Why is he lonely? Why is he not feeling so confident socializing in a way? So a father's presence in kids' life is how you say is a matter of quality as well. Because when you come, you're tired, you know, you go to bed, or you would rather see somebody else. But so we can do the best version of ourselves. You know, we many times cannot change the circumstances, or we can, but what we can do is change the way we approach them. You know, how we relate to them. In a way, so there's a how I say there's a shift, and yeah,
there's a concept that I also want to touch upon where you're bringing so many points that I want to discuss. So let's take a concept and discuss it really quickly and move on, because I want to take as much as possible as I can from you.
Cool.
The fact that this concept of you being yourself authentically, which a lot of people are labeling right now authentic leadership, right? Which I work on a lot of my clients that are leaders on this, especially after Corona. I think that's what we discovered that people crave, like be authentic, be real, be empathetic, an empathetic leadership. And that's all of a sudden becoming a big thing, a buzzword, as you say, right? I just want you to touch on that a little bit, this wearing the masks and how removing the masks is actually the way to go.
Yeah. So when I first discovered my tunnel with masks, I was appalled, you know, understanding it was a long time ago, some 20 years, when I saw how many masks I wear. Like every relationship, every conversation would be a mask, you know, of sorts. And then you find the master of puppets, or the master of masks, which is basically your ego, which is your idea about yourself. And then this idea constantly changes to satisfy somebody's kind of desires. So you need to see me like this, so let me shape up and be like this, you know? And then you need to see me like this, so let me shape up and be like this to you, you know? So it's an infinite process, super tiring, which psychologically builds a very dangerous mechanism in. Because as soon as you build the mask receives emotions. The mask receives feedback, and the mask is nothing. So the whole exchange that we have as humans goes to nothing, goes to drain. And after some time, you find yourself that you're dying inside. Because all of these masks are getting love, recognition, affection, things like that, but yourself inside is not getting any of it. So, as we said, looking at life as a living thing, you know, I always have this idea of a more moving, living being, without the walls, without the lines, in a way. So, how I say, going back to yourself. And knowing that that's absolutely enough to be you in anything you face in life. And as well said, that also have friends who, like, we have a conversation, then they step on a stage, they take the mic with somebody else. So I had a conversation with somebody who was high profile, and it was like, what happened? He says, what do you mean what happened? I was like, where's you? He said, but you know, I cannot. There's all these people, and you know. It's like, try next time to be the same beautiful you that you are. It's absolutely enough. It's exactly what the people need. And the true leaders, in a way, are not pretending to be leaders. You cannot fake it, in a way. Nobody will follow a fake version or an idea of a leader. It's charisma is is contagious because it resonates life with a high potency. And this is what people associate with. This is what people trust. And how to do this is to reveal, remove all the masks and shine your best self out of it.
This is the whole idea of self-love too. It's attached to it, because if you don't truly love yourself 100%, then you have to build this egoistic persona that you think people are going to love you for, or accept you for, or respect you for. And you said something that is extremely important, which is, I am enough. This concept of I am enough is forgotten, because we are systematically taught when we're kids that we are not enough. We have to be smarter, we have to be more beautiful, we have to be more muscular, we have to be, all of that stuff that we're bombarded with diminishes our self-love and understanding how beautiful and powerful every single expression of a human is. And we have to celebrate our differences and our uniqueness.
Self-love also, or kind of have this thing with, there's so much kind of time and space spent into formulating love or relationship to yourself, to others, to creation. The story of religion, you know, like I have a relationship with God, but what about a relationship with His creation, you know, and you being creation, you know? So there's again this separation, which is a result of a mind complexity, that as soon as the only way your mind can control, if he separates you. So if he separates you from yourself, he's in control. And then he tells you, you know, you're not good enough, you need to fix this. I was like, excuse me, who's talking? Who said that? Oh, shh. There's a master in this temple. So when we need to do things, you will do what I need you to do, you know, to compute.
Most people cannot distinguish that difference. How would you tell people that are so immersed in these voices and these conditional voices, I call them, that are there from your past?
So one of the things is quiet down the noise. There are many different ways: contemplation, meditation. When things quiet down, you will discern your small voice, which is an expression of your intuition, which is the true voice. And for me, all of these other voices by now, because I've been kind of getting my antennas on radars on them, when I hear this voice, they sound more metallic. They have a little bit of, not arrogance, but there's something about it that
I hear them as a recorded voice.
Yeah, there's something metallic. And there's always like, you know, come on, I'm your best friend, listen to me. I was like, excuse me? This is how I quit all the things that I didn't want to do. I was like, yeah, but why not, you know, like, I was smoking, you know, I was like, excuse me, who's saying this? Come on, let's smoke. It's, you know, it's two of us. Two of us? Oh, it's two of us. Okay, get the out of here, you know? So I was like, but wait, we've been friends for blah. Forget about it. So quiet down, find and follow. Once you follow your intuition, the whole approach to entrepreneurship, the whole approach to, I'm built in that way, intuition driven 100%, just like my stomach. Yes, no, I don't know. That's how it goes.
Another jump. What's intuition?
Intuition, we know about 5 senses, 5 elements, 5 senses. And 5 senses are used to interact with sensory or material reality, in a way. And the 6th sense is the same as the 5 senses, but it allows us to get in touch with the non-physical part of reality. I like to think about it when you are in a maze. trying to get out. And what you can do, you can touch, you can smell, you can hear, you can da-da-da. But the sixth sense is actually a camera that sees you from a different vantage point. And this allows you to have a completely different perspective on things, on situations. So the more you rely to your sixth sense, I say you will see that you have a GPS that gets you to places in a much smoother way. It never mistaken in a way. But you need courage for it. You need to follow your intuition. We all have intuition, and we're like, no, but there's a mind that comes after. No, but you know what? He's not. You know, it's better. And then this intuition kind of okay. And then you go like, okay, I'm going for the reason. Wait, intuition comes, be brave. You know, this is, come on, are you a man? Come on, follow it. No. A man follows only the computation. I was like, excuse me, this didn't bring us to a good place. You know, intuition is not only a thing of female principle in a way. It's much more easier. They're much more attuned to these waves as they are. But us and access to consciousness, key element is intuition.
I urge people to start following their intuition on the small things first. Yeah. So you get intuition on something, it's usually the first voice. That's what I say. It's the first small voice that says, hey, yeah, I think you should do that. You know? Yeah. And then you're like, then your conscious mind comes and is like, no. I know what's best for you, right? And that's usually all the conditioning and the programming. And it's your father's voice and your mother's voice and your teacher and all that's people that condition you to be who you are. But if you one day you just trust that intuition on something small, what should I eat? Right? What should I drink today? Right? Trust the first voice. And then eventually just monitor what happens. And you'll see that eventually things start happening in your life, or you get signs, or you get, and slowly you start following these things and you discover this beautiful world that's behind the world that actually is this material world that we're fed every day. Yeah. We have a few minutes left.
Okay, cool.
What would you advise entrepreneurs in general and men in our shoes that are getting into this world right now, because so many people are getting into it after COVID? Where should they start from and how should they be guided?
Yeah. Start here. That's another kind of thing that I learned along the way. And when you say advice, I'm like, oh, who am I to give an advice? But just to share my experiences, that solutions are much closer to us than we think. There's always like, oh, I need to sit on a chair, I need to get my binoculars, I need to look across the ocean and spot this opportunity that is staying there, and there's millions of people looking, and who sees it first will grab it and be rich and happy for the rest of their life. No, that's not the way things are. Actually, you by yourself, you have a destiny of its own in a way. So just see it. It's waving in front of your eyes in a way. There are flags that you've seen. There was a conversation. There's your cousin. There's your family friend. There's an article. There's something that is your hobby. There's something that you discovered working at this business. There's an opportunity, and then actually you're good at this, but you work at this. There's so many different ways how to spot, but it's right in front of you. And then the first step should be in that direction. Just grab that thing and kind of try staying with it for a little bit and then build on it. Another thing is ask others. You know, ask your friends.
Help.
Ask for help. Ask for coaching. You know, it's beautiful that we have this opportunity right now. This was not paid. This is not an infomercial. All copyright. It's all reserved. You never told me to this. It wasn't paid. Like the opera, I wasn't paid for this thing. But
you won't get the meal afterwards if you don't
not
say
getting the. No, but I say ask for help. Ask for advice, reading, invest in your self-education in that way. But follow this first flag that is right in front of you. And then you be brave to follow the white rabbit. You know, because
that's another conversation on its own. The damn white
because
rabbit.
It comes out and it's just like da da da, and then but just go. You know, no, but no. Here I'm safe. I have my. This is how my. I'm not happy, but I'm safe. You know, so there's a smart way how not to jeopardize your safety. There are a million ways how you can do these things, but it takes balls. You know, it takes balls to live your true self. That's another thing that we need as men, not to be foolish, but I say the quests come with courage. So.
We can go on forever. Nemanja, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you for
being
invitation.
I really appreciate you. Can you tell people really quickly where to find you?
In Alserkal Avenue, right next to Cinema Kiel, there's this warehouse 69. You can walk in and you'll probably find this tall man with a hat. Yes. Chicaspace.com. Yeah, there's a little bit about Chica as well. And Instagram, social media. If you're into fashion, Chica Collection, at Instagram. Okay. Yeah. But, snazzy. But cool, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for doing this. I hope it will help people along the way.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
Inshallah.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you. Thank you guys.